Collision. The first note hadn't even finished echoing through the theater when the entire room seemed to forget how to breathe. The camera lights burned hot, the judges leaned forward without realizing it, and somewhere in the crowd a hand flew to a mouth in disbelief. This was supposed to be just another audition. Another kid. Another dream. But something about this voice, raw, trembling, impossibly powerful, grabbed the viewers by the heart and refused to let go. Before you hear another word of this story, do one thing for me. If moments like this give you chills, if you believe dreams can come true from the most unexpected places, tap like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Because stories like this deserve to be shared. The boy stood alone on the massive stage, his feet barely reaching the floor beneath the microphone. He was small for his age, wearing a slightly oversized jacket that once belonged to his older brother. His name was Miguel, a 12-year-old from a quiet coastal town in the Philippines where the ocean sang every night and electricity sometimes disappeared without warning. Back home, he practiced under a flickering bulb, singing to peeling walls and cracked windows, imagining crowds he had never seen. Music was not a hobby for him, it was how he survived the weight of a life that had given him far more worries than a child should carry. Miguel's father had been a fisherman, a man with calloused hands and a gentle voice who used to hum old songs while mending nets. When storms came harder and work grew scarce, illness followed, and soon the house fell quiet. After his father passed away, Miguel became the man of the house in every way except age. His mother worked long hours at a laundry shop, his sister studied late into the night, and Miguel sang. He sang while washing dishes, while selling snacks on the roadside, while walking miles to school in worn-out shoes. His voice was the one thing the world hadn't taken from him. One evening, as rain hammered the tin roof, Miguel watched a clip on a neighbor's old phone, auditions from a talent show where dreams seemed to explode into reality in seconds. He saw judges crying, crowds screaming, lives changing. For the first time, he whispered the impossible, what if? That single question refused to leave him alone. Weeks later, with borrowed money and endless prayers, Miguel and his mother boarded a plane for the first time in their lives, carrying hope in a small backpack and fear in their hearts. Backstage at the audition, Miguel felt invisible among confident performers warming up their voices. Some laughed loudly, others stared at their phones. He clutched a small necklace hidden under his shirt, his father's, and waited for his number to be called. When it was, his legs shook so badly he thought he might fall. The stage felt bigger than anything he had ever known. The judges looked distant, powerful, untouchable. One of them asked him why he was there. Miguel swallowed hard and said softly that he wanted to sing for his family, for his father, and for every kid who thought their dream was too big for their life. The music started, slow and familiar. It was a song the world had heard 1,000 times, made famous by a legend. Risky. Dangerous. The kind of choice that could end an audition in seconds. Miguel closed his eyes and sang anyway. His voice didn't try to copy anyone, it carried pain, hope, and a maturity that didn't match his years. Each note felt lived in, like a memory pulled straight from his chest. The crowd shifted, then stilled. A judge's raised eyebrow softened. Another judge's smile faded into shock. As the song built, Miguel's voice soared, rich and controlled, then cracked at just the right moment, revealing the boy behind the sound. Tears streamed down his face, but he didn't stop. He sang like someone who knew this might be his only chance. When the final note rang out, there was a second of pure silence, the kind that screams louder than applause. Then the theater erupted. People jumped to their feet. Strangers hugged. The judges stood, clapping, disbelief written across their faces. One judge leaned into the microphone and said they had heard that song their entire life, but never like that. Another admitted they had forgotten they were judging and simply listened as a fan. Then Simon, usually so careful with his words, looked at Miguel for a long moment. He asked him what he would do if his life changed that day. Miguel answered honestly that he would fix his mother's hands, worn from years of work, and make sure his sister could finish school. The room broke all over again. Simon stood up slowly. The crowd sensed something before it happened. Miguel's eyes widened as Simon walked toward the golden buzzer. For a heartbeat, time stopped. Then the button was pressed. Gold confetti rained down like a miracle, covering the stage, the boy, and the dream that had just taken flight. Miguel fell to his knees, overwhelmed, laughing and crying at once, as the audience roared. In that moment, a fisherman's son from a forgotten town became a symbol of hope for millions. But the story didn't end there. Fame arrived fast and heavy. Online comments were cruel as often as they were kind. Some said he was too young, others said he was overrated. The pressure nearly crushed him. He missed home. He missed singing without expectations. One night before the next round, Miguel almost quit. He called his mother, his voice shaking, and told her he was scared. She reminded him that courage wasn't the absence of fear, but singing anyway. Just like he always had. On the night of the live performance, Miguel walked on stage calmer than before. He sang not to impress, but to connect. The song told a story of loss and light, of standing back up after falling. The audience listened with their hearts. When he finished, the applause felt warmer, deeper. Win or lose, he had already won something greater, belief in himself. Miguel didn't take home the final trophy, but he took home something better. A future. Scholarships followed. Opportunities opened. Back in his hometown, kids gathered around borrowed speakers, singing louder than the waves. Miguel returned often, standing on the same cracked floor where he once practiced, reminding everyone that greatness doesn't start on big stages, it starts in small rooms with big dreams. So if you're watching this right now feeling unseen, unheard, or unsure, remember Miguel. Remember that one brave moment can rewrite your entire story. If this story moved you even a little, show your support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your small action helps bring more stories like this to the world. Dreams are real. Voices matter. And sometimes, all it takes is one song to change everything. The sound hit the room before anyone realized what was happening. It wasn't loud at first. It wasn't flashy. It was fragile, almost trembling, like a secret being confessed into the dark. And yet, in that single moment, the entire theater froze. Conversations died mid-breath. Phones stopped recording. Even the judges, people who had heard thousands of voices, felt something tighten in their chests. This wasn't just another audition. This wasn't just another kid chasing a dream. This was something else entirely. And before this story goes any further, if moments like this make your heart race, if you believe real miracles still happen, hit like right now and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this don't just entertain. They remind us why we believe. The boy standing on that massive stage looked impossibly small. The microphone seemed taller than him. His hands were shaking, not from fear alone, but from the weight of everything he carried to that moment. His name was Miguel. 13 years old. From a fishing village in the Philippines where houses leaned tiredly against one another and dreams often had to wait. His clothes were simple, worn but clean, chosen carefully by his mother the night before. She had ironed the shirt slowly, like it mattered more than anything else in the world. Miguel didn't grow up surrounded by music lessons or fancy stages. He grew up surrounded by waves crashing against broken boats, by the sound of coins being counted and recounted at night, never enough. His father used to sing. Not like a professional, just old songs passed down through generations. Songs about love, loss, and hope. Songs that made hard days feel softer. But life at sea is unforgiving, and one storm changed everything. When his father never returned, the ocean that once sang with him became silent. After that, Miguel's childhood ended quietly. No announcement. No warning. He woke up one day and understood that his voice had a new purpose. He sang to help his mother forget her exhaustion. He sang to help his younger sister sleep when hunger made her restless. He sang to keep his father's memory alive. Music wasn't a dream anymore, it was survival. Every morning before school, Miguel helped sell rice cakes on the roadside. His feet burned on hot concrete, his backpack frayed at the seams. Kids his age talked about games and gadgets. Miguel talked about bills. But when night came and the village lights flickered out, he would sit by the window and sing into the darkness. No audience. No applause. Just hope echoing back at him. One evening, a neighbor gathered children around an old phone. A talent show video played, grainy and lagging. Miguel watched in silence as someone his age stood on a stage far bigger than any place he had ever seen. The judges cried. The crowd screamed. And something ignited in his chest. For the first time, the impossible felt close enough to touch. That night, Miguel didn't sleep. He kept replaying the idea over and over. What if my voice could take me somewhere else? What if it could change things? The idea followed him for weeks. Then months. Until one day, his mother noticed him staring at nothing and asked what he was thinking. When he told her, she didn't laugh. She didn't say it was foolish. She just listened. And then she said something that would change everything. If we don't try, we'll never know. Getting there was a miracle on its own. Money borrowed. Clothes donated. Fear swallowed and hidden behind smiles. At the airport, Miguel clutched his mother's hand like a lifeline. He had never seen so many people. Never been so far from home. Every step felt like stepping into another world. Backstage at the audition, Miguel felt invisible. Other performers warmed up confidently. Some practiced dance moves. Others laughed loudly, already acting like stars. Miguel sat quietly, fingers wrapped around a small necklace under his shirt. His father's necklace. His anchor. When his number was called, his heart pounded so hard he thought the judges might hear it. The stage lights blinded him. He squinted, barely able to see the judges. They asked him simple questions. Where are you from? Why are you here? Miguel answered honestly, his voice shaking. He said he wanted to sing because it was the only thing he knew how to do that made people feel less alone. The room softened. Then came the song choice. A legendary song. One everyone knew. A dangerous decision. Even the judges exchanged glances. Miguel took a breath. Closed his eyes. And sang. The first note was gentle. Almost shy. But it carried truth. His voice didn't imitate. It remembered. It carried nights without electricity, mornings without breakfast, years without a father. As the melody grew, so did the emotion. His voice cracked, not from weakness, but from honesty. Tears slid down his cheeks, but he didn't wipe them away. He didn't stop. The audience leaned forward. One judge's smile disappeared into shock. Another pressed a hand against their chest. And Simon, known for his brutal honesty, stopped writing. He just stared. When the final note faded, silence took over. Heavy. Sacred. Then applause exploded. People stood. Cheered. Cried. Miguel looked stunned, like he wasn't sure it was real. The judges spoke one by one, praising not just the voice, but the soul behind it. Then Simon stood. He asked Miguel what he would do if his dream came true. Miguel answered without hesitation. He said he would fix his mother's tired hands and make sure his sister never had to quit school. The room broke. Simon walked toward the golden buzzer. The crowd screamed before it even happened. When he pressed it, gold rained down like destiny itself. Miguel collapsed to his knees, overwhelmed. The boy who once sang into darkness now stood in blinding light. But fame isn't a fairy tale. After the celebration came pressure. Expectations. Cruel comments. People who loved him one day doubted him the next. Miguel struggled. He missed home. Missed singing freely. Before the next performance, he nearly quit. He called his mother, crying. She told him something simple: sing like you did before anyone was watching. On the live show night, Miguel walked out calmer. Not trying to win. Just trying to feel. He sang a song about standing back up. About light after loss. And the audience listened, not as judges, but as humans. Miguel didn't win the final prize. But he won something greater. A future. Scholarships. Opportunities. And most importantly, belief. Back home, kids now gather and sing louder than the waves. Miguel returns often, reminding them that dreams don't start on big stages. They start in small rooms, with brave hearts. So if you're watching this feeling small, remember Miguel. Remember that one voice can change everything. And if this story touched you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and keep believing, because your moment might be closer than you think.